Okay, folks, good morning. Oh, it's a little chilly here in Arizona. My God, did I bring the cold air with me? Maybe I brought this blast of cold air back in here to hell. Yeah, I know. When it's cold in the wintertime, I joke and tell people I'm gonna move to Arizona. Here it's warm there. Yeah, it gets cold here, folks. It does. It does get cold here. In case you're wondering, I'm just got a jail across the street there, Nevada County Jail. Went in there yesterday. Got back out finally. It's a lovely little tiny one building museum. Talk about a walk back through history. It's definitely worth stopping in. I stopped here a couple of times. Kind of a quaint town. People don't have much here. People pretty simple here. It's not very crowded, but there can be rush hour. Believe it or not, they can hang you up a bit in town here. Anyway, I drove back across the state line yesterday and I had quite a wild ride. I caught a tailwind from east to west out of Albuquerque. Helped lift me right up out of that bowl, right up out of that mountain. I was doing about 6, 7 miles an hour faster than average for me. I was passing a lot of trucks. That little rig of mine is a nice rig. If you know how to drive it right and you stay up on it good. I try to go 55 to save money and to relax and to see things, but it really likes to go about 63, 64, go uphill, pop it out of overdrive, drop it down a gear, just hums along, get up on the level, put it in overdrive. But it's an old cast iron engine, cast iron block, cast iron heads. The nice thing about that is they heat up at the same rate, same coefficient, so you don't lose head gaskets. Those cast iron block with aluminum heads, they have different heating coefficients and they screw up. And this is the last of the good motors. The more modern motors were blowing out spark plugs out of the holes, the feed ends, and you have to wrap them up, give them a lot of revs in order to get the power. This engine, it's got low end grunt, it's got torque, and it loves to be ridden up there a little bit. It does not like to hang out in the low ends. A lot of people make that mistake. So you got to go by feel, got to go by hearing. Anyway, I'm going to go into the valley. I'm going to take a look at a new rig for me. Now, I'm probably not going to buy it because the market is crashing right now, just like the rest of the economy. I'm not going to be able to get much money out of mine, even though I've tossed tens of thousands into it. That's just the way it is. That's the nature of the beast. The beast being the system that the jackasses who run this place gave us a few centuries ago, millennia ago, maybe even the last Earth age they did this to us. Because it looks to me like they're trying to wipe out as many of us as they can because they know it's the end of the Earth age and they've been here before and they've dug in previously and they come out on top. And they get to rule the roost because they hold back the technology. And then the rest of us have to reinvent the wheel and crawl out of the rubble and reinvent things thinking we're ahead of the game, when the fact is they keep their technology on the side and they dole it out as they see fit. They even keep their nuclear technology on the side. That's why you get those nuclear bombs in the past. It's nothing new, folks. It's fallen angelic technology. And same damn gods that they worship. You kill a bunch of human beings for us, we'll give you the knowledge. You kill a whole bunch of people, you sacrifice a lot of blood, we'll give you even more. And you can cash in, take that to the bank. Yeah, and you can make a lot of money and right on top of things. And we'll give you new weaponry so you can kill even more sons of bitches for us on behalf of our gods that walk the face of this planet. That's kind of the way they look at it. They think their gods are alive and that they're alive right now, walking the face of the planet. All these secret societies all intersect Same bunch of jackasses pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Same centers of coordination. Same centers of brain power. And they do their best to put on a happy face and to don their robes, especially the black robes, to pretend that they're the good guys and to blend into the woodwork. Or they'll wear their fedoras and dress up in pretty quaint garb to make you think they're harmless when they're actually killers. The most watched videos for me are She's Gonna Come Down. Well, the market. The market has gone up and the market has peaked. And the Gregory, the Manarino, whatever it is, the MMRI as he calls it, is way the hell up there, like 270. Anything above 250 is danger zone. And he says stocks are going to drop at the opening. That's what's been planned. Stocks. Just think about that. Stock. Doesn't that sound like cattle? Cattle. Who is it that calls human beings cattle? Cows. Stock. I don't dare use the words here. I would be struck by lightning if I did that. We know that our communist community standards would not tolerate such truth, such revelation. The revelation of the language, the revelation of the method, explaining their techniques to the rest of you. Boy, that would be a sin, wouldn't it? My profession's horrible. I did Confessions of a Psychologist thinking, man, that should get a lot of views. It didn't get that many views. My mom got more views. I put the videos up of my folks. Well, my dad is featured in one. My mother interviews him. Lorraine, come on, come here. Come here. What did I say? Quiet. Come here. Come on up here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, good morning. Oh, no teeth. Oh, yeah. Good watchdog. It's okay. Yeah, she needs more stability, and traveling does not provide her the stability. The trainer's right about that. So we've been traveling a lot, so she's on edge, and she lets me know about everybody and everything out there. That person was, well, a few feet from the motorhome, but not right near it. She does her job well. It's in the breeding, and that's the way it is for a lot of us human beings. It's in the breeding, but we don't want to admit it. We don't want to face the reality and the truth that breeding matters. Genetics matter. Culture matters. Things matter more than what we want to admit. We want everybody to be the same. We want to think everybody else is a good guy. They would never do anything wrong. Nobody in their right mind would ever do that, Dr. Kent. Really? Do you understand a sociopath? No, you don't. Why? You probably never run into a sociopath, at least not to your best of knowledge. And now we have narcissists today. Bet you haven't run into a narcissist either. You're probably too busy being a narcissist yourself. Look, it says in the Bible, people will be full of love for self. Self-love at the end times. Narcissism. Narcissus, the dude in the Greek myths who sat by the pool, on the edge of the water of the pool, staring all day long at his reflection. Life went past him. He was trapped by his own reflection. And he was beautiful, and he couldn't stop looking at himself. Of course, once another person makes us sound beautiful and feeds us all kind of malarkey about how wonderful we are and all that, we listen to him a little too much. We get conned in. But the real problem with narcissism is the term came about because women wanted to hang something on men. It's amazing how often psychological terms are invented by political interactions, if you will, by social interactions. You know, to give you an example, we had the terms sadistic and masochistic. Masochistic meaning somebody who wants to be inflicted and harmed about, and the sadist being somebody who just wants to go along with that and fulfill their wishes and beat them up too. Well, we use those primarily to describe females. That's what our profession did in the 50s. Before that, I mean, a century before that, we used those terms. They were professional terms. Then we also had neurosis. What was neurosis? Well, it basically was you believed you had something wrong with you, and you did not. So you were neurotic. You wrongly, falsely believed you had a mental illness. That's being neurotic. Well, a lot of women get confused with their emotions, and a lot of men too these days, by the way. And so they will be a bit neurotic. And I hate dealing with it because they bleed all over the place. But there's other forms of bleeding, if you will, when somebody's talking to you. I had a friend bleed all over me yesterday. I had to tell her, stop bleeding on me. Stop bleeding. Just tell me facts. Don't embellish. I asked a question with just takes a simple answer. I don't need to hear your life story right now. I just need the one fact because I'm trying to guide you to the next step, to the next logical step so you can get a hold of your ass and form an action plan. Because when you take action, you're busy taking action and you're too busy to be frickin' neurotic. Okay? Thank me for my advice. Wait till you get my bill. I'll make sure you can't afford it. Let's see. How much was that sailboat anyway? Yeah, that's the ticket. Look, folks, I don't mind helping people. I can't stop myself. It's my pathology. For Christ's sakes, don't get between me and the victim I'm trying to save. And of course, while doing that, I could be victimizing them myself, helping to hold them back, telling them, oh, this is your diagnosis. Here are your cement overshoes. How do you like those for size? Put those on. Oh, look, body of water. Let's go get baptized. See how you swim with those cement overshoes on? I'll cast you overboard. We have to be careful. Psychology is an extremely dangerous profession. They've been using it to destroy the nation for a long time. There are very few psychologists like myself who are conservatives, very few who've got hearts of gold, basically. Most of them are busy out there figuring out, how can I make this son of a bitch dependent on me so I can get that weekly payment on my frickin' sailboat? I am going to offer consultation. I haven't set that up formally just yet. I'm real slow. Making money is not a priority for me, but I guess it should be. I sure could use it. I haven't structured it up. I've been kind of worried because you see all these jurisdictions, they want you to be licensed to treat anybody in their jurisdiction as a psychologist. And you can't call yourself a psychologist unless you pay us a fee. Then you get permission to call yourself a psychologist. Screw them. What about First Amendment free speech rights? What about the fact the Supreme Court said you didn't have to have a license to practice in your profession? You could work without it. I'd just as soon take chickens and eggs in trade. It's worth more than the money is anyway. Or an oil painting from a budding artist. My uncle did that as a mortician. He ended up with some fine artwork. I want it. I didn't get any of the artwork in my parents' house. My brother and my sister were horrible. They chased me out of the house to make sure they had the parents to themselves and they could divide the booty up once they passed between themselves. And that's what they did. I didn't get completely cut off. I didn't get nothing, but I got a real hard time. And they screwed with me, especially my brother. He doesn't want to talk with me ever again. Ooh, boy, wish granted. Yes, that is one wish you're going to have. I ain't talking to you again. Don't talk to members of your family. Well, they're not talking to me anyway, so it's like, so what? You know? I love the preterists, by the way. There's supposed to be people that think that all of the Bible prophecy's been fulfilled. There's nothing more to be done. It's all been accomplished. Why do I love them? Because they're actually in the reality of what the Holy Spirit's supposed to be about. They read that entire Bible and they understand it as you die daily to yourself. You put your ego aside. You put that personality of John Kett, you give that up. And you live for this greater cause. You let this Holy Spirit well up in your body and take over and take control. And I know a lot of you out there say, well, I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be a puppet at the hands of a puppet master. Well, what about the big guy? What about the creator of the whole universe? The guy that holds all this together to begin with? Who's running the show and running you? Remember, the Bible says you choose your path. But Yahweh picks your steps for you. So I want to grow up and I want to become a carpet layer. I want to become a carpenter. I want to become a psychologist. Oh, heaven forbid that. Don't choose that horrible profession. I want to become a medical doctor. Oh, my God. Wow, talk about jumping from the frying pan into the fire. Or I want to become a dentist. Or I want to become a goddamn attorney. Folks, Yahweh lays out your steps. Each step in that path. That's what's wild. You and I may choose the general theme. I want to paint houses. You know, I want to make the world beautiful. I want to give it a fresh coat of paint. I can see my work when it's done. I don't talk to people very much. I can do my job by myself. Have some peace and quiet. At the end of the day, get paid. Look at my work. We can see the work's done. We can see if it's well done or not well done. We can see if there's something to learn from it and do better next time. We can see the mess made from being sloppy or maybe not using drop cloths, or something. So we learn from it. But Yahweh chooses your steps. And sometimes those steps are a little sideways, sometimes a little backwards, sometimes a little asswards. We get our asses handed to ourselves. Now, my philosophy is lose, but do not lose the lesson. I don't like losing. I don't mind it. What I really mind is losing a lesson. And some of these lessons are really elusive, and it bothers me. There have been some concepts that have been handed to me recently that I can't quite grasp. And I'm like going, what's wrong? Am I having problems with my abstract reasoning? Do I not understand the reference that are being referred to? I mean, this is simple stuff. What am I missing here? Usually, what it is to me is a sign that I'm under stress. I'm strained. I can't process it right. I am preoccupied. Preoccupation slaughters the mind, twisting one's vision right out of time. And so a lot of us have got hypervigilance. What's hypervigilance? We are on edge. We are hyped up. We are hyper. What are we worried about? Well, sometimes we're worried about something that's real. Sometimes we're worried about something that's not real. Now, let me give you a very gross example of something that's not real, so you will understand the nature and the good of hypervigilance. It serves a good purpose, okay? It's not totally bad. So you're walking the street downtown, and you go past an alley, and you think you see a lion attacking you from the freaking alley, from the side. You're walking straight ahead, you think there's a lion coming at you from the side. And you stop and you turn and you look to face your fear head on. That's another principle I love to convey to you. Face your fears. Yes, it's hard, but they can't terrorize you if you're willing to face it. And you're not willing to go along with it, but call them on their bullshit. So to get back at our lion who's in the middle of attacking us, That's a survival need, right? I mean, or better yet, more realistic yet, we think a dark dog is attacking us. By the way, the number one attacking dog is a black dog. That's the color of most dogs that do the biting, by the way. So you look over at this dog that's attacking you because you don't want to get bitten, and you see a dark pile of leaves in the road, in the alley. Now, you and your periphery vision have misinterpreted this dark pile of leaves as a dog attacking you, about to bite you. Now, it makes sense to protect yourself. So that serves a purpose. I don't want to get bit. Dog bites happen. Okay. And you turn and you face it. You look right at it and you realize, oh my God, it's just a pile of leaves. Maybe they're even blowing in the wind so it's moving a little bit, which makes you even more alert, gets your attention more. That's hypervigilance. It's being on edge, okay? Maybe you just had a dog try to attack you or harass you the day before, threaten you. Now, that's a good reason to be hypervigilant. My God, this dog was a jackass, wouldn't leave me alone, kept getting too close to me, showing his teeth. And here's the next day, and a little pile of leaves. That's all it is. Pretty damn harmless, right? So that's hypervigilance. You got an overactive mind. It serves a purpose. And there's different degrees of hypervigilance. And if you get hypervigilant enough, you're flat out paranoid. Okay? So that puts it on a continuum so you can understand. It's not you're paranoid or you're not paranoid. There's different gradients there along the whole path. And you people out there worried about your sexuality, whether it's this way or that way, I got news for you. There's different gradients all along the path. There's all kinds of sexualities. So that's about as liberal as Dr. Kent's going to get this morning, okay? But you need to understand, you need to be flexible. Train coming through downtown Holbrook, Arizona. The rain. Don't bark at the train. Oh, the tail wags. She loves her job. Lorraine, sit. What did I say? Lorraine, sit. Good girl. Such a very good girl. Such a pretty girl. Oh, you yawn. What big teeth you have. Oh, and the ears are up. You're such a pretty girl. Where's your ball? Get your ball. There's nothing like distracting a child. If you got a child that's getting too violent, you might want to look at what they're watching on TV. They could be watching those doggone violent and vicious cartoons. Those things that model violent behavior that they've been feeding your children, our children, me, when I was a child, for years. They've been modeling violent behavior on the cartoons. And you want to know why your child wants to beat others up or wants to fight, or why your child gets in fights so much. Man, I had a little girl come in, Precious. I think she was about 5 years of age. The parents didn't understand things very well. This is in the state of Mississippi, where I got to practice. I loved it there. And their poor little daughter was getting violent. And she actually kind of liked it because she was getting attention, so they were reinforcing it. Kind of the tomboy thing, or, I'm getting attention, so I'm happy. So they didn't understand they were reinforcing this behavior. Turned out she was watching wrestling on television. I told the parents, why don't you just change the channel? You don't like the results you're getting? Then put on something else. Put on a nature show. Put on an animal show. Change the channel. It's like my mother calling me up. I can't get this out of my mind. The Twin Towers. Oh, it's so horrible. It's horrible. Mom, stop watching it. That's 2 weeks after the 9/11, the trauma bonding event. That's how we bond Americans. We traumatize their asses, and we repeat this and repeat this and repeat this using our propaganda machines, our war machine, in case you're wondering. The war is for the human mind, and they win almost all the time. So she's watching this damn thing nonstop that they keep playing. On top of that is computer graphics, but, we can't tell them that. They won't believe it because they're seeing it with their own eyes. Damn aluminum planes don't go through those buildings like a hot knife through butter. Come on, folks. George Bush, the president, was so proud he pulled that shit off, misled the whole nation on behalf of the lords and the keepers, especially on behalf of the Queen of England, who he acknowledged owned America, all of it. Yeah, you got a bunch of assholes in Washington, D.C. who know right from wrong, and they relish over the fact that you're a dumbass and they're ruling over you, and they keep you in the dark because you're their favorite frickin' mushroom. You love being deceived. You love being lied to. You love hearing smooth things. You don't like hearing things that contradict your perspective, your truth, your reality, your precious fucking reality. You celebrate Christmas. Santa, Satan. Wow. St. Nicholas. The Nicolaitans are mentioned in the Bible. What did the Nicolaitans do that he who was dictating Revelation said he hated? He hated the practice of the Nicolaitans. Look it up. It's in the Bible, folks. It's all in there. Right in there. St. Nick, the beginning of St. Nick. And you celebrate Christmas. Did you know Christmas was illegal? It was illegal in the original colonies to celebrate Christmas because they knew it was a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. They knew it was a pagan holiday, so it was illegal to close up your business on Christmas Day in the colonies. You want to know the day of his birth? Remember, they like to trauma bond, right? They like to do this stuff on specific days like April 19th. Why April 19th? Because that was the day the first shot was heard around the world, and most of you don't even realize what the significance of that day was. Come on, folks, wake up, smell the roses, smell the coffee, feel the rain falling, feel the wind change, feel the wind change. It's changing direction. Oh, that feels so good to know I'm on task. And in the spirit, I'm in it properly. It just feels so wonderful. It's a very electric feeling. It's an electric universe, boys and girls. That's right. And our keepers and the people who run this place know it. That's why they feed our environment with electric pollution all the time with as much as they can feed it, as much interference as possible. And they feed you with poisons so they can stop your body from functioning and stop you from forming the higher level attachment with Creator, Father God, Yahweh. Read the Bible. Get it back. You want your nation? You want to save your country? It's an individual battle. Who's the prince of the air? Satan. He rules the air. He rules the electronic area. He rules the damn atmosphere. Hell, for Christ's sakes, they spray you every day and every night like cockroaches. The nuisances they consider that you are. And you are. You've let yourself become that. Stop being cockroaches. Learn to walk upright. Learn to walk like men. And when I say that, I mean everybody. I'm not talking just about one gender. I'm not talking about just one race. It says in the Bible we are supposed to be a blessing to all of humanity, the rest of humanity. What passes for humans as we try to unite a bunch of diverse species and claim we're all the same, what hogwash. We don't even come from the same planets. Oh, yeah, yeah. You didn't know that? We come from different planets? Oh, yeah, yeah. It's in the Bible. Heck, I can refer you to the guy. I'm not going to do it, though. I mean, he gets into that stuff, and other people have read the Bible and understand that stuff. And I'd love to go down to Florida. I don't know if the fellow still survives if I can get a rig going and with that'll, with good insulation. Uh, and I can afford the money to burn, because when I travel or when I generate electricity, I burn my money because that's what it takes, fuel. I'd love to go down there and visit this one gentleman and hung out with the German rocket scientist, because he said they understood the entire history of their race, including off planet. Henry Ford said all history is bunk, and he meant it. You need to realize all of this history you're running around thinking is true is not. It's lies. All a bunch of lies. These institutions, which you think are so wonderful and magnanimous, are built on frauds. Your very identity is built on fraud. Yeah. So you need to redo it yourself. Read the Bible. Let it build your identity from within. Let it define you. You and that Bible do it together. That is the Holy Spirit. That is how you access it. That is how you access the mind of God, of Creator, Father, Yahweh today. He will reward you. Read it. Abide by it as best you can. Read it for its history. Read it at the concrete level. Do not spiritualize it, at least not prematurely. Read it. Learn the plot. Learn the names of the characters. That's how you start off with it. You get to a boring section, blow through it. Skim through it. Flip over. There's another book to read. Plenty in there to keep you busy. Those boring genealogies and boring passages will have something to mean later on. You don't have a Bible? Get one of my Bibles. It's the best Bible in the English language available today. Soon to be available in one of the Philippine languages. I think it's going to be in Mindanao. I don't think it's going to be in Tagalog. I wish it was in Tagalog, though. I love that. Tagalog is the name of a bird. The bird that hovered over the deep, over the oceans, and terraformed the earth. Sounds like the opening of the book of Genesis. The Spirit hovered over the deep and terraformed, if you will, the earth. The winds from that craft, from that bird's wings, helped form the land, the structures below that we live on. Oh, folks, I just got out of jail over there. You should see that place. The place where they keep people. I mentioned to the woman, yeah, that jail, that in the basement. She says, in the basement? Oh, it's right there. I says, yeah, I thought it was in the basement. She says, well, people think it is the basement. I said, well, it's not exactly uplifting. It's a small, tiny little cage they kept men in back then. And there's another place in Arizona. Arizona's famous for its prisons, by the way. It's still famous for its prisons. There's a place out in Wickenburg called the Jail Tree. The tree's still there. If the sheriff wanted to arrest you, he would chain your ass up to that tree. You had the shade of the tree, and you were stuck out there in open public, and everybody could see your ass chained up to the tree. Talk about embarrassing. Didn't exactly have air conditioning back then. I'll have to get a picture up there someday when I get up there. A friend of mine showed it to me, and it's like, man, is it quaint. Reminds you of a cartoon. Reminds you how unreal life can be. Well, I want you to buy my Bibles. I want you to like my video. You want me to take these videos in a particular direction? Let me know. You all seem to like the fact that she's coming down, she's falling. Well, Babylon is what's falling, folks. Babylon. Mystery Babylon the Great. Mystery because it's a mystery to your dumb ass, not a mystery to mine. I'm a smart ass. And it's great. It rules the planet today. Yes, they rule the planet today. And they got you running around thinking you know something when you don't. Of course, if you're tuned in watching me, you already know something. You're not going to hang out here without having a bit of a background. The channel is open to everybody. However, I would beg you not to share it with unbelievers. Give it to people who at least have the foundations of believing a little bit in the Bible. Maybe even a believer in Jesus Christ. That's okay. We educate them. We teach them a proper title, which is the Messiah. And we teach them his real name, which is Yeshua. And we'll change the names around once in a while so that people understand who we're talking about. We're not going to be so damn exclusionary here. Have our head up our asses and pretend that we're better than everybody else. Because we know that if it wasn't for the saving grace, we wouldn't be here. We know that we were chosen. Yahweh chose us to call us to Yahshua way before any of us could ever imagine it possible. Yes, we existed before. And we will exist after, from what I can tell, but not all of us. Some of us will have our electromagnetic fields dissembled in the fire on the second death. May Yahweh bless you. I want to keep this one kind of short. I got to get cleaned up. I got to shave. I got to go look at a motorhome. And the markets are falling, so the offer is falling. And I am ready to walk away. I have found another one that's in much better shape. That's a better price, and I'm going to go look at that on the west side of town. And I am just going to get my laundry done. Those of you who know me know I'm kind of an unusual man. I love to do laundry. I love it. I mean, it's very mundane. You do it by rote. You get a methodology going. You just do it you do laundry by the numbers. Towards the end, you're hanging up clothes so you don't have to iron them. I don't even own an iron anymore. So you're hanging up clothes in a particular order. And when you're done, it's a chore to put them away, but you got clean clothes. You can see, smell, and touch the labor of your work. The reward's right there in front of you. And then I get my generator on this rig, finally get the finishing touches to get it fixed. I have dumped so much money into this pig, it's not funny. The last time it was over $600. The summer before that, it was, I think, $900. And then before that, it was who knows how much. I spent more than the cost of a new generator maintaining this thing and putting it in good shape. But it's worth it in that whoever gets this rig, it's going to be fairly well manageable, fairly well broke in. The worst thing possible for a coach is to sit still. So keep that in mind. If the coach has been sitting for years, don't touch it. Leave it alone. Everything breaks through lack of use. You keep everything going, the seals stay nice and pliable. Especially the plastic in these things dries out, and it breaks too. Where was I? And then I got a decision to make. Do I buy a rig? I don't think so. I think I'm going to go up into the high country and cool off. I got a hold of the dog trainer. I would love to go up there and work with him to work with her. 2 months to help straighten me out. You realize I'm the one being trained. The dog's there's no problem with the dog. She's fine. It's me that's the problem. And she's going to like it better when I get trained and I'm doing things the proper way. She begs for direction and attention. She lives for that. And we've done a pretty good job of bonding. Now when I leave the motorhome, she looks to see which way I go off in, and she stands there waiting and watching for me to come back, just like my last dog, Diesel. I'd walk off, he'd be looking in that direction. I come back, there he is. She slowed down on the rate she chews food and eats it, so she's enjoying it more. Diesel took his time. He actually left food in the bowl throughout the day. He could modulate himself. I found I didn't have to regulate that. A lot of dogs, you got to take the bowl away. You can only give them so much because they'll just keep eating like a black lab. But not a Great Dane. Maybe not a Belgian. So she eats fast sometimes. Other times she eats nice and slow, enjoying every little morsel. That's what I want. I want her eating without any anxiety, just totally enjoying it. However, she's starting now to cease from eating when I walk in and out of the motorhome, which is what I want. I don't only want her to eat in my presence. I don't want her eating stuff off the ground. These dumbasses toss their chicken bones everywhere. It's getting to be a very slovenly place. You drive across the country and you can see what lowlifes we become because they use the most uncouth things to draw tourists in. They use horrible stuff that's not exactly what I would call upper thinking, upper level. It's not exactly highbrow. It's low, crass stuff they're catering to across the country. And I don't like it. And the litter that's in this country, when I got back from Germany after 3 years there as a child, that was the most appalling thing, was the biggest way these people live and the litter that was beside the highways in those troughs. I mean, it was so piggish and it was so low class. The Germans didn't have much, but what they had, they took good care of. I mean, they were still recovering from World War II. And everything was manicured. The little cobblestone villas, the little cobblestone streets. There wasn't any litter on it. The farmyards, everything was well organized. It was like they blessed everything that they had, because it was all they had after that miserable war where we carpet bombed the entire country. Reminds me of the Native Americans. They bless everything in their environment. All of the earth is holy to them. The sage is holy. The cedar is holy. The rocks, the grandmothers, grandfathers, those are holy. The fire is holy. The water of life is holy. They bless everything. I think that's wonderful. And you go to the American, to the teepee, to the American, Native American ceremony in which they do the peyote and they break that ceremony. The water woman breaks the ceremony. And what do they have on that galvanized bucket? They have painted Jesus. They call him Jesus with outstretched arms. Outstretched. In a very open way. That's how they break their ceremony. You see, they've integrated Yahshua the Christ into that ceremony. Man, I look forward to going back there. I don't know if I should talk or if they'll let me talk. I prefer to listen. I learn something from them. And they say some pretty wild things. And usually if I'm in the teepee, they're going to introduce me to everybody. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Let me just stay off in my own corner here. Let me blend into the woodwork now. We're all around here, equal around here. And you're going to, well, I guess you got to warn them, the white guys here, the invader or the guest, the psychologist, Dr. Kent. Yeah, and of course my big brother and Andy would say, don't take too much, don't take too much. And of course I'm sitting there going, okay, and usually it's, no matter how little it is too much. So, okay, fine, And then the next day we'll go eat their mutton and the lanolin that floats up, and that is so wonderful. You eat that, you feel like a baby again. It's just rich with lanolin from the mutton, just pools of it in there, and you take it And it seems to go to every part of your body and lubricate it. And you have no pain. You feel like a little baby. It's just wonderful. And you're in a nice, cozy place with loved ones, with dear friends, and you're sweating and enjoying that time. Oh, my Lord. My big brother Daniel took such good care of me. It was wonderful. And then look at what happens when I leave those people, and look what we do to them. Yeah, folks, they were targeted this last round. Do I go back and tell them? I don't want to tell them. Do I tell them what's been done to them? Could I have stopped it? We are ruled by evil. We are ruled by liars, thieves, robbers, murderers. That's what rules America today. That's your United States Central Federal Communist government. All of that war machine is being turned on the people today, and you don't realize it. What do you think causes such precise fires, melts certain metals perfectly, which is an attack without warning? And I can't help but wonder, because some of the insurance companies canceled their coverage just months before those fires in different areas. What did they know that we didn't know? Why did they know it? Was it just luck? That it was just happenstance? Was it just a coincidence that they canceled all of those policies weeks and months before the fires in California? No, folks, it's all a rigged game. Boy, we got to take that rigging down, don't we? Yes, Babylon the Great is falling, folks. You're living through it and you're watching it. They're going to get more desperate. I'm going to tell you right now that we are going to be seeing the time of judges come to full fruition again. Now, I'm also going to tell you, do not take action unless you're totally sure and certain of it. Do not. And those who are activated by the Holy Spirit, may Yahweh bless you and protect you. You know your mission. No one else need know it. Certainly don't turn to me. I have enough burdens on me already. I've sat with enough great men in our nation. And they debrief with me, and I am just appalled at what they've done and what they've been through. I didn't know men were capable of that. And yet I'm going to tell you something. They were all really nice guys. You would never have known. You would never have guessed at their training level. You would never have guessed at what they'd done. You would never think that, because they're very happy-go-lucky guys, and you just wouldn't expect it. And there have been some women that have done some incredible things for this nation as well. The last thing I want to hear about is how they go to war and battle and do that stuff. The last fellow that I sat with, who lost his wife to combat defending the Saudi prince's 4 children, he was very distraught over that. The natives in Alaska, the women were distraught when the Russians took the men away, and they had to go do the wailing themselves because it hurt their spirit, because as givers of life, as the bearers of life, they weren't permitted to take life according to our native Alaskan traditions. They had to do it to eat and survive. It hurt them deeply. The Russians did that to them on Gamble Island. So women, as bearers of life, you've got a special place. However, we men are the ones that give you civilization. We give you a safe, orderly society. Please do not get in our way. Don't try to help us. Let us do our jobs for you. It's not for you, it's for us. Yet you've insisted on ruling the roost, and look at the mess in this country today. All you Eves out there, behave yourself. All you Adams out there, you take good care of yourself. I know you look out for Eve, and remember she can't help herself. She was given extra capacities by Creator Father Yahweh for the purposes of motherhood. And when she misuses those extra capacities for womanly means, she drives herself crazy. Yeah. May Yahweh bless. We're going to end on that note.